Hi friends, Barrett, Laurie here, and it's time to talk about the butt stuff. Before we get into that juicy topic of the day, I'm going to cover some channel maintenance with you. Right off the top, I am not psychic. If you enjoyed today's content, go ahead and click that like button and leave me a comment below, all right? Comments can be anything from maybe you have a question about something I'm talking about in the video and didn't go into enough detail, or maybe you have an idea for a video you'd like to see in this playlist of Let's Talk About Butt Stuff. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button and ding the bell. Here on this channel, we cover 3 playlists for 3 simple topics. Number 1, if you're a writer, then AuthorTube is your playlist. That's where I go through my journey from starting my debut novel to finishing it, to now going through an editing process, then going on to query literary agents, and hopefully getting it traditionally published, and everything in between. If you're a new author looking for tips and tricks, head on over to that AuthorTube playlist. Maybe you're here because you suffer from a chronic illness. For me specifically, it's Crohn's disease, and if so, then you're here for the Let's Talk About Butt Stuff playlist. It is everything chronic illness and my experience with my chronic illness, Crohn's disease. And I do not hold back, y'all. Nothing is off limits. So if you want to see something talked about here that I have not covered already, get in those comments and give me some ideas for what you want to learn a little bit more about. Lastly, everybody's got to laugh. Laughter is the best medicine, y'all. That last playlist, Dear Barrett, which is practical advice for people with a sense of humor, that is for me to put on a little bit of some really bad drag and give some gay Dear Abby advice to some friends on the socials who are looking for some advice in their life. So if you want to laugh, head over to the Dear Barrett playlist and enjoy yourself as you make your way through those videos. As I'm talking about the socials, here's the deal, people. If you're not already following me, head over to Twitter, Instagram. You'll find me at Barrett_Laurie on both. Give me a follow, slide into my DMs. They are always open to you, especially if you're someone suffering from chronic illness and looking for someone to commiserate with, especially dealing with Crohn's disease. But my DMs are open to everybody. So, you want to talk to me? Head to the socials, get into my DMs, give me a follow. Let's talk. Okay? I think that's about it. Let's get started. Hi out there, everybody. I am excited about today's topic, and by excited, I mean I'm sad I have to do it. However, we are in the middle of a global pandemic. Yay! So, if you're like me and you're suffering from a chronic illness, you probably have wondered, how is this going to impact me and my illness? So today's video is all about Crohn's and COVID. What are the concerns? What should you be thinking about? What should you be talking to your doctor about? And let me start this video by saying I am not a healthcare professional. What I am going to be giving you information from are some articles that I read on the issue that were pointed out to me by my doctors to give me a little bit of peace of mind. So I will add the links to the articles that I read for this video in the description below so you can check them out for yourselves. But I am not giving you medical advice because my master's degrees are in finance and business. So that's about the only place I can give you some expert advice. But what I can do is tell you what had me concerned and what made me take some extra precautions, reach out to my doctors, make sure that I really understood what it was that would put me at risk. So let's just start right off the top, that having Crohn's disease does not make you more likely to get exposed to the new coronavirus. In saying that, the concern for anyone with Crohn's, as was described to me by my GI doctor, is that it's not that we will be more likely to get the disease, it's that should we get it if we're on certain medications or certain treatments, then we are likely to have a much harder time with the disease. Certain people are likely to become more ill based on some medicines that they may take that would suppress or weaken their immune system. So lots of things can reduce your immunity, including chronic illness, surgery, or certain types of medications. And we're going to go into the certain types of medications that are specifically related to Crohn's patients that are likely to make you have a harder time of recovery from COVID-19. It's especially important for you to follow your guidelines of your local health department. I go to the website about once a week and just make sure that nothing has changed or that there aren't any new guidelines that I need to be aware of. The major thing that my doctors have told me is make sure to wash your hands. I'm doing about 40 seconds of washing underneath really hot water, as hot as I can stand, with a good antibacterial soap. That's super important. If you can't get that, then get yourself some alcohol-based hand sanitizer. And all hand sanitizers are not equal, folks. So once again, make sure that you've checked out your hand sanitizer. Make sure that it's gotten a certain percentage of alcohol in it. We're looking for hand sanitizers with 70% or more in our household. That is based on what we saw on our local health department website. But same concept applies with the hand sanitizer. Put it on in a big, like several squirts, and then really get in there and wash all the things. Also, I love to wear my rings. So if I'm wearing some jewels, I take them off. Once I'm home, drop them in a cleaning solution and wash my hands without them, because these little buggers are super likely to hang on to some nasty little germs that you do not want on yourself during a pandemic, y'all, okay? So I had some interesting information I wanted to pass along to you, and I'm gonna put the definition for a pandemic up above. However, what I learned when I went to search out what a pandemic is or what it means, I was surprised to find out that not all infectious disease terms are created equal. So there is distinctions between a pandemic, an epidemic, and an endemic. So here they are, and I will include links to the articles that I use to find these definitions below. Basically, you can count on who for these. But an epidemic is a disease that affects a large number of people within a community, population, or specific region. A pandemic is an epidemic that's spread over multiple countries or continents. An endemic is something that belongs to a particular people or country. An outbreak is a greater than anticipated increase in the number of endemic cases. It can also be a single case in a new area. If it's not quickly controlled, an outbreak will quickly become an epidemic. And an epidemic will become a pandemic. We are in a pandemic. Go us. Yay. Let's go back to the next thing that I am doing to keep myself protected, and that is wearing a mask. I am not one of these people that is like, oh, quit taking away my freedom by making me wear a mask. You know what takes away your freedom? A ventilator. That takes away your freedom. So I don't want to end up on one of those. So when I leave this house, which is very rarely, which is why I am so glad to have this outlet to reach out to people, because I am a social being and I have enjoyed the interaction with humans since I am locked up in my ivory tower most of the time, because I am a sick and I don't want to get on a ventilator. So I wear my mask and I wash my hands. The other thing I'm trying to do is social distance. So if I'm the only places I really go are the pharmacy if I have to, if my husband's working and I have to go pick up a prescription, which we try to make few and far between. He and I do go to Costco during the immune suppressed hours. So for people who have an immunodeficiency of any sort, you can go during a certain amount of time at our local Costco. We go during that time to pick up most of our food, veg, fruit, anything that we need to kind of get through the week, including our prescriptions now. And I also go to the doctor's office pretty regularly. And I will admit there's one other place I go, which if you know that I have the Author 2 playlist, it won't surprise you, but I do go to the bookstore. We have a local bookstore two local bookstores that I like to support, Left Bank Books and The Novel Neighbor. The Novel Neighbor allows some special circumstances, again, for people with immune deficiencies. So I really appreciate those hours, and I have gone to visit the store, which has been a godsend for me to just be around book people and to be able to talk books, and everybody's masked and respect social distance, and they're just wonderful. So I do visit that. Also, I've gone to Left Bank Books, which is my other favorite local bookstore, and they have curbside pickup. So I have ordered some stuff from them and gone to pick up books from time to time. And again, I will sit in my car, roll my window down, and have a chat with my favorite 2 booksellers about the books I've picked up. That's about it. Oh, I do go to my mom's house on the regular, but she's quarantined as well, and my sister's quarantined, working from home, going to school from home. So pretty much anyone and everyone I visit is a fellow crony or has a fellow crony in their family, so they are quarantined as well. And we don't go anywhere because we want to keep ourselves safe. So social distancing, masks, washing the hands. So let's talk about why it's important, which is, for those of you that are not familiar with Crohn's disease, Basically, the issue for people with Crohn's is that not that we're more likely to get it, it's that if we should get COVID-19, we're likely to have a much, much harder go of it to recover. That is because our immune systems are usually suppressed. Some drugs that are used for Crohn's disease that are not impacting your immune system in a way that would make you more likely to have a hard time with COVID-19 would be, and I'm going to mess up these names because I'm not a medical person, but balsilazide, mesalamine, osalazine, and sulfalazine. All of those are ones that will not affect your immune system. And I probably butchered those names. So if there's a nurse or a doctor or somebody watching this who knows what the F they're talking about, no need to say in the comments that I mispronounced them. I am full on admitting now I likely mispronounced them, so my bad. Okay, the immunosuppressant drugs that do affect your immune system include 6-mercaptopurine, azathioprine, which I'm on, cyclosporin, methotrexate. Those are drugs that stay in your body for months. So if you stop taking them, which you should never do without talking to your doctor, you'd lose the benefit against Crohn's without affecting how you might respond to COVID, because it's not an immediate, like once you stop taking the immunosuppressants, it's not like it's just out of your system. Like it takes a while to work its way out of your system because you've spent a lot of time taking the drugs. In my case, I've been on them since March. So, and I'm just now seeing some of the benefits of azathioprine, and it is now August 22nd. Like, it takes a while to get in your system and see an impact. The other drugs that can suppress your immune system would be biologics or biosimilar drugs. So these would be Humira, it would be Humira, Cimzia, Simponi, Infliximab, which is Remicade, which I'm on, Tisabri, Entyvio, and Stelara. Any of those are also likely to suppress your immune system and would mean you'd have a harder time of it with COVID. So if you happen to be on any of those medications, experts are going to recommend that you take extra precautions. So that could include limiting travel, which I'm doing. We're not traveling anywhere. I'm not leaving my house. I'm a big old bore these days. And avoiding large gatherings if they aren't already shut down in our area, which for us they are. It's not like you need to be concerned about anything other than washing your hands, wearing a mask, and social distancing. Those are the biggest things you can do to keep yourself and your family safe. Believe me, I know it's hard. There's a few other precautions that my husband and I take, but we're extra weird about this stuff. But for us, when we get anything from Costco or the grocery store or anywhere, we do wash everything down with basically either a bleach mix or some sort of antibacterial wipe that we have. But we will wipe down everything that comes in this house. When my husband comes home from work, he gets undressed in the laundry room, leaves all of his clothes that he wore to work down there, will put on a towel, come into the bathroom, take a shower, go and put on fresh clothes, and then go behind where he was and wipe everything, the light switch, the handle on the shower, the doors that he touched, anything and everything, just as an extra precaution, because frankly, we're very afraid that if he were to come home with it and give it to me, it could be deadly. So we're really not taking any chances. As for infusions, I have had some concerns myself because I get infusions regularly, and yay, just found out I'm going to be getting them every 6 weeks, which I just did a video about the day before. Although you're not seeing it back to back, you're seeing them a week apart. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I will be getting infusions every 6 weeks. I was concerned about that. So a tip that I got from my nurse that hooks up my IV every time and I do my scheduling with, she advised me to change my time of my infusions so that I would be there at a less busy time. In the past, I've usually gone towards the end of the day, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, which she said is usually the busiest time. Their slow time is during the lunch hour. So I'm actually gonna start going about an hour and a half earlier so I can catch the time when most people aren't there, just to limit exposure as much as possible. As far as COVID-19 and your gut, the truth is that it's a respiratory illness. At this point, they only know symptoms that can sometimes mimic some IBD symptoms, diarrhea, vomiting, things like that. But there is no hard and fast studies yet that show that COVID would cause a Crohn's flare. They would need more time to study, do some studies that would be peer reviewed to come up with some kind of an answer that would be definitive on that for us. So as far as that's concerned, we just don't know yet. Because I'm just gonna repeat, the problem with the pandemic for me has not been exposure so much as it's been stress from exposure, meaning I'm more stressed about being exposed than I am likely to actually be exposed because I'm being very careful. I'm staying at home, not going anywhere. My husband's staying at home. We are in the process of moving, but even in that, we're doing it in a prolonged period of time. We're taking every possible precautions. The movers that will be helping us move, we've had multiple discussions about them being masked, and they will be wearing gloves and taking extra precautions because they know I'm sick. And I will be here the day of the move, but we're gonna take some extreme precautions to keep me safe. There is a balcony, as you can see behind me. I'm going to stand on it and direct movers from there, so I'm not inside with any of them at any time. I also will not be taking off my mask, and I will be washing my hands on the regular. But we gave ourselves 2 months to move because we wanted to have plenty of time to do a lot of it ourselves and not be worried about taking any risks at the last minute in order to get ourselves situated in our new place. So if you're seeing my house look really, really empty lately, yes, it's true. We're moving and we are getting rid of a lot of our stuff ahead of that move because our next place is already furnished, or we already had it set up and furnished. So for us, we're getting rid of a lot of stuff. So I know my house looks empty. Don't worry, we're okay. Now, the most important thing for me was how to deal with stress, because for me, stress is a trigger of flares. And one of the problems that I am having is that I have been in a flare since October of 2019. And as I just said, it is August of 2020. So I have had a heck of a year when it comes to the flares. Basically, you've got to deal with stress the best way that you can. So for me, that's taking a break from the news. So next week is the Republican National Convention. I can tell you unequivocally that I will not be watching that because that just gives me stress. So I will take a break from that Cuckoo for Cocoa Puff show because it would do nothing but give me additional stress that could make my flare worse. But I'll take breaks from the news if things get a little too overwhelming. If you have a therapist or a counselor, consider trying online appointments or Zoom appointments. A lot of places are doing that now. I've done another video, which I'll link to up here, with my sister, who is a mental health care professional. And she recommended looking for universities or colleges in your area that might offer counseling programs. They're likely to have free or very reduced cost counseling for people that are still in training like her. So consider that if you're being priced out of counseling at this time. This is not the time to skimp on your mental health. Get someone you can talk to that you can trust, that is a professional, that is not intertwined in your life, so that you can really be honest with them about what's going on with you, and they can hopefully guide you to a better place mentally. Also, I would say get some exercise. One of the things my husband and I started doing when he was still at home in March, and we've carried it over into this time of year, and I talked about it in a few videos, is walking every day. I'm not up for a lot of exercise right now. My energy levels, thanks to this never-ending flare, are super low. But I can get out and walk every day, and it's also just amazingly good for my mental health. I had no idea the positive things that could come to me from just getting outside and taking a brisk walk in some nice weather, getting that sunshine on my skin. Although be careful if you're on azathioprine, because there are, which is one of the drugs I'm on, there are some limitations to sun exposure, so be careful, wear your sunscreen, people. And last, I would say find any other activities that you enjoy. I love to read and write, so I am doing a whole lot of both. So I finished my debut novel. I'm working with an editor on getting that ready to query to literary agents. I am also trying to build my author platform across Instagram and Twitter, which I'm gonna put up here so you can follow me if you're not already. The key takeaway I want you to have is that COVID is scary. It doesn't need to be debilitating. And I don't care whether you do it here in my comments or whether you shoot over to the socials, give me a follow, slide into my DMs. I will talk to you about my concerns. I will listen to you about your concerns and commiserate with you. And I will help you hopefully overcome the fear that comes with having a chronic illness at a time when that can be deadly. So that's incredibly stressful, but the truth is we can overcome this. So let's stick together. We're in this together. It's gonna be okay, I promise. I appreciate you listening. and taking the time to watch this video. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button and ding the bell. The bell is going to give you notifications every time I upload new content to the channel, which is 2 to 3 times per week. If you enjoyed the content today, click that like button, let me know, I'm not psychic, and leave me a comment below. I love to engage with you. If you're not already following me on the social medias, head over to Twitter and Instagram at Barrett_Laurie at both. Give me a follow, slide into my DMs if you need to talk to somebody. I always have my DMs open and I'm good to answer usually within a day. So if I don't answer right away, I'm probably just sleeping. But I appreciate you. I hope that you are staying healthy and well and taking extra precautions, putting your health and you first, and know that I am thinking about you and wishing you nothing but the best.